The Phoenix Suns have been so incredibly impressive as of late, as they just smoked the Chicago Bulls last night and have now made it 4 straight wins for them, as they are looking to practically lock up the #1 seed in the entire NBA. They are now 9 games up from the next closest team in the Warriors with only 11 games left in the season, so if they don't end up coming away as the regular season champs, something would have gone so incredibly wrong in the next couple of weeks, and I think it's pretty safe to say that they're going to end up with the best record in the NBA. What this team has been able to do all season, and especially as of late, without the likes of their star in Chris Paul, and even some other notable injuries in Jay Crowder and Cam Johnson, has simply been phenomenal. But the thing that shocks me the most is even after everything this team has done, they still don't get the credit they deserve, and I honestly think that they are the most disrespected team in the NBA. A team that was 2 wins away from being NBA champs, looking to finish well above 60 wins this season, and according to many are now the clear favorites to win the NBA championship, yet they still aren't talked about like they respectively should be. I know every Suns fan wants everyone to continue sleeping on this team because they all know what this team is all about, and honestly none of the talk really matters, as I know this Suns team will back everything up on the court once the playoffs come around. I'm just saying this team has done so much to earn the respect of everyone for what they've done over the last 2 years, and they are being completely disrespected from that regards. Also, only a small percentage of people who watch my videos are actually subscribed, so if you end up liking this video, consider subscribing. It's free and you can always change your mind. Enjoy the video. The Phoenix Suns ran away with last night's win in the second quarter, where they simply just didn't look back after taking the lead, and this was against a Bulls team where, yes, they have been struggling mightily as of late, but they are still a squad that has 2 All-Stars in DeRozan and LaVine, and are still a playoff team that can start making some noise. They had almost an entire healthy lineup in this one compared to many missing pieces for the Suns, but as the Suns have shown all season is that they just don't care who they have suiting up on any given night, as this team is clearly built from top to bottom to withstand losing some guys for stretches in the season. Like most of the Suns games all season, this one was a complete team effort, and many guys contributed to notching their 57th win of the season, as they held the Bulls to shoot just 41% from the field as a team and 26% from 3, where not a single guy on Chicago had more than 20 points in this one. Devin Booker led the way for the Suns with a game high of 28, shooting 55.6% from the field in just 32 minutes, as since Chris Paul went down with his injury, Devin Booker took charge to ensure that this team stayed afloat with his leadership, and in his last 9 games that he played in without Paul in the lineup after the All-Star break, Devin has been putting up numbers that are low-key up there with some of the MVPs this season. Without Paul in his last 9, Booker has been averaging 27, 5, and 7 with 2 steals a game, and as these numbers alone are already phenomenal, he's also managed to be a part of the 50-40-90 club over that span, shooting 52.5% from the field, 41% from 3, and 91% from the free throw line, as he's just been able to take his game to a level that shows me that this Suns team is going to be practically unstoppable when they're healthy. There are 2 things that completely stand out to me when I look at these numbers over that stretch, and it's the defensive improvements that he's made in his game, and the fact that he's averaging a plus-minus of plus 10.6 per game over that stretch. Starting with the defense, this is something where he has completely changed the narrative surrounding who he is as a player, as he was once the empty stat scorer who has now evolved into a guy that has embodied all of the qualities that equal to winning basketball, as this is why he's capable of having this absurd of a plus-minus over that stretch. His perimeter defense should now be considered elite if it isn't already, and this paired alongside the other great defenders on this team is just another piece that makes this team so unique. Now moving on to DeAndre Ayton, he did exactly what DeAndre Ayton does in this game, as he just continues to show that he's one of the most efficient scorers in the NBA while being an elite rebounder on top of that, as he had a double-double of 20 and 12 on 8 for 11 shooting in this one, and what makes him so special is the fact that he did this all in just 23 minutes of play, practically splitting minutes with JaVale McGee. And just like Booker in his last 8 games, stepping up for a beaten up Suns roster, he's been able to put up 21 and 11 while shooting 67.5% from the field with an average plus minus of plus 11.3. Ayton, McGee, and Biyombo have solidified themselves as being the group of centers on this team that should be talked about being the best center tandem in the NBA. All 3 of them present an extremely strong presence on the boards, on defense in the paint, and even in the pick and roll, being on the receiving end of many lobs from this team's playmakers, as they all sort of have very similar skill sets because of their size and athleticism, with Ayton being the anchor on this team down low, and McGee and Biyombo both fill in to give him some rest. This provides the Suns with a massive advantage in terms of consistency, constantly having that amount of size on the floor at all times, as we saw both of them have very strong games in this game against the Bulls as well. Mikal Bridges, most known for his elite defense, had 3 blocks last night, but what's incredible to see from him as of late is his ability to unlock his offensive game when Chris Paul went out, as this is a very common theme for this team, where practically everyone is stepping up in plays for their missing star, as he's been able to average 17.6 points per game on 51.2% shooting in his last 10 games. And then to finish this trend off of strong games, Torrey Craig, Cameron Payne, all guys that would regularly come off the bench for this team when at full strength, prove just how good the depth is on this roster, as this isn't even where the role players stop on this team. And if you want to get a much deeper analysis, be sure to check out some of my previous videos as I went through this roster from top to bottom in those, so check those videos out after this. The Phoenix Suns will be getting some of their key pieces back soon, as Crowder is just day to day, Cam Johnson is expected to return anytime soon, and Chris Paul likely before the playoffs, as this is going to complete this team at the perfect time once the postseason begins, and I can assure you this team is going to make some noise. All season long, they've been just as elite offensively as they've been defensively, ranking 3rd in offensive rating and 2nd in defensive rating, clearly showing that they have been the best in basketball all year long. And this has been for a team that has gotten pretty unlucky all year with injuries as well. They are definitely battle tested, needing to throw out many different combinations of lineups, and they even have the experience from reaching the finals last year on top of the chip on their shoulders that created, as they took that devastating loss to the Bucks in the finals, only making them want this more. This team simply just continues to impress me the more games they play, on top of also just convincing me more and more that they have such a great chance to win it all this year. Since Chris Paul went out with injury, the Suns went 9-4 without him, and these 13 games, they've also been without other stars like Booker and Cam Johnson as well. Not only is 9-4 an extremely solid record, especially considering how they got these wins, but the 4 losses came against really good teams as well, in the Bucks, Jazz, Raptors, and the surging Pelicans at the time, where they even almost came away with some of those wins. So just wait till they get back to 100%, as this is something that we have yet to see from them in a while. And simply just adding Chris Paul, who could be argued to be the biggest piece on this team, is going to potentially put them in a league of their own. This team has everything you would want in a championship contender, as I honestly want to know from you guys in the comments the thing that will be stopping this team from winning the championship, if there is anything, considering everyone is healthy, as they have the elite play on both sides of the ball, incredible depth, an elite playmaker, scorer, defender, rebounder on this team, and I could go on and on about them. Lastly, before I end this video, as this team enters this final stretch of games and potentially clinches the #1 seed, they can even start giving the guys on this team some rest in games, making them fresh for the playoffs as well. But that's going to be all for today's video. As always, if you did enjoy, be sure to hit that like button to help the video get shared along YouTube's algorithm, and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more NBA videos like this one that I will be posting multiple times per week. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you all have a great night.